under 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. The offensive line struggled to keep him upright, though, allowing 7 sacks. So the Buffs now 3-7 after that 29-22 loss to the Mountaineers. Just a little bit of background again, if you're unfamiliar with Juju Lewis, making his first start for CU today. High-profile recruit that had been sitting behind senior Caden Salter until this week. Also was out one of his top tackles. Again, the line had problems protecting him in the 7-point loss. Number 5, Georgia at Mississippi State. Dogs laying just under double digits in this one. Dogs would lead 24-7 at the break. Stockton's second passing touchdown of the day. Branch's third touchdown of the year. There's that stat that's updated, improving to 27-0 against unranked teams on the road under Kirby Smart, and 47 straight win against an unranked team, longest active streak in FBS. So they cover the 9.5, the over 56, and a hook cashes at Hail State, and Georgia will have Texas coming up next Saturday. Number 2, Indiana, 2 touchdown favorites at Penn State, but this one had us on upset alert for Kirk Cignetti and his perfect Hoosiers. It's picked things up in the 4th in a 10-point game. Nicholas Singleton finding a hole and taking off down inside the 3 after a 59-yard gain, setting this up 3 plays later. Singleton again. Penn State now trailing by 3. Second touchdown of the day would not be his last. Ensuing Indiana drive from their own 27, Fernando Mendoza. Looking, survey, fires, but it's intercepted by King Mack. 3rd straight game with the pick for the Heisman candidate. Ensuing drive, Ethan Grunkenmeyer going to find Singleton, who breaks a tackle down the sideline, in for a 19-yard touchdown, his 3rd of the day. 17 unanswered points for the Nittany Lions. Singleton, the first Penn State player with 2 or more rushing yards and 1 receiving touchdown in a game since Saquon Barkley. Touchdowns in both departments. All right, so here's Fernando Mendoza down by 4. Less than a minute left to go. Charlie Becker leaping. 17-yard gain inside the 10. Career-high 7 catches for 118 for Becker. 3 plays later, Omar Cooper Jr. worth many more looks. Right foot, left foot. That would have been good in the NFL. Indiana now leads by 3, but there's still time in this game. It would come down to a Hail Mary at the end for Grunkenmeyer. Midfield, under pressure, has a chance to step into it, looking for Kyron Hudson. Broken up, and that is it. Perfect season continues for IU as they don't cover, but they win. Cignetti, 3rd coach in the last 50 years to start 10-0 in each of his first 2 seasons at any FBS school. He joins Larry Coker and Urban Meyer in that department. 27-24 again is your final. Over 48.5 cashes, and for Penn State, 6th straight loss after starting the season 3-0. Welcome to college football post game. What a finish. Had me mouthful of marbles there. I'm Tommy Tran, Damian Harris, Brian McFadden, and Danny Cannell. Guys, you were all watching the ending of this game. B-Mac, I'm going to give you first word. What stood out to you about this electric finish between these two?
Just the finish for Indiana. In the second half, their defense couldn't get any stops. The running game was clicking for Penn State, and they found a way to not just get back into this ball game, but take the lead. And then, Danny talked about Mendoza needing that Heisman-like moment. Well, it surfaced late in the 4th quarter because they were down, 4 points. They needed a touchdown to win, no timeouts, and he had his best drive in the more critical moments of that ball game. Charlie Becker had a great day filling in when you look at the losing that top wide receiver, and the job that Omar Cooper Jr. did in that game winning touchdown catch. Not just one foot, but the other as well. He was in on Saturday, also in on Sunday. This was a huge win, and this is what we like to see in college football in terms of adverse situations. For Indiana, they've been fairly comfortable in these moments. Their back was finally against the wall. We wanted to see exactly how they would answer, and guess what? They answered with a much-needed win.
Danny?
10 plays, 73 yards, and a minute 15 to win the game. Like, that was Fernando Mendoza's signature moment as an Indiana Hoosier quarterback, and it couldn't have come at a better time for him. And he's done this before at Cal. He's been in these situations, but there's nothing to win over your teammates in a locker room than going out and do this. And I do think this was not a good game for Indiana. They did not have their best stuff. Their defense struggled to get off the field. Fernando Mendoza was getting pressured all afternoon. But this is a good battle test for them, and they stepped up and answered it and passed that test with flying colors, because at some point in the season you're going to face a drive like that and a situation like that. And I look around some teams, and that's one thing I've wondered about Ohio State. Will they ever have to face that, or could it be in a Big Ten championship or in a playoff game where all of a sudden all right, that's your first time. Now Indiana's been there, and that experience I think will help them moving forward as they go through what they want to do, which is ultimately win a national championship.
Tommy, you want to know what I love about college football right now?
What is
and
that?
A lot of people talk about parity, right? You want to hear some parity? I'm not going to say we. I'm not going to speak French. I'm not going to speak for you guys. I was sitting at the edge of my seat, ready to go in on Indiana and talk about they're not actually a good team. The one time they get tested, they fall to it. They didn't play their best game against a team who has absolutely zero direction, just fired their head coach, have not been playing well. But now here I am at the edge of my seat, still ready to say this Indiana football team, they're good. For the first time all year long, they were tested. Now, everything I just said about Penn State and the fact that they fired their coach and they haven't won a lot of games, throw that out the window. Indiana was in a dogfight in the fourth quarter where they had to have a touchdown to win the football game. Like Danny said, a minute 15 left, and guess what? Fernando Mendoza, he did what he was supposed to do. Guess what? The receivers, they did what they were supposed to do. The offensive line that allowed Fernando Mendoza to get pressured for most of the game, they held up and protected. So that's what we talk about when we measure great football teams. This is the metric. This is the piece that you can't necessarily put on paper. When you're tested, when you're put in a hostile environment, when a team is giving you everything that they got, when they're playing with house money, Tommy Tran, they got nothing to lose, and they punch you in the mouth over and over. And in the second half, they punch you in the mouth more and harder and harder. But they just don't keep you from getting up off the mat, and that's what Indiana did tonight. And I will echo Danny's point. The way that they won, the way that they had to come from behind, the way that Fernando Mendoza had to orchestrate that 2-minute drive at the end of the game, that will serve them tremendously towards the end of the season, going to the Big Ten championship, hopefully getting to the college football playoffs. The lessons that Curt Cignetti and this team learned today, they will absolutely capitalize on it moving forward.
Another, like one of my favorite parts of the drive, the first play of the drive, he was sacked for a 7-yard loss. They had second and 17. It looked like, oh boy, here we go. 22-yard completion.
Seam route.
Staring in the face of adversity.
And the play right before the Cooper touchdown, he got hit, and then it almost was floating out there. Potentially could have been a game ender. To your point, it's interesting because the margins are razor thin. We have an entire research team going, if Penn State wins, when they were ready to go, what was going to happen to Indiana, all the conversations. Guys, do we have that Mendoza graphic with the first 9 drives versus the final drive once again there against Penn State? Again, first 9 drives, you see the splits. Final drive, 5 for 8, 87 passing yards, and that passing efficiency. By the way, Fernando Mendoza, now the betting favorite for the Heisman, plus 150. Julian Sandwich, Ohio State is playing right now, plus 230. Ty Simpson will have a chance to answer. He's third with shortest odds at plus 470. Danny, if I were to give you a free bet for the Heisman right now, where would your money go?
Can I take it on the winner of the Big Ten championship game? Because that's what I said before the game.
So it's almost a say in Mendoza and then the field.
But I think Ty Simpson is there, but I think a lot of times you can't win the Heisman right now. You can lose it though. Like if Fernando Mendoza doesn't have that drive, he's out. And I do think he has a clear path to get there. Sayin only has the Michigan game really, and they're probably going to be a 7 or at least a touchdown favorite in that one. While Ty Simpson still has a couple tough tests. But that could be a blessing and a curse. But I'm going to go with the short things of the guys that get there smoothly, and then the Big Ten title game. I think it'll be a huge opportunity. Whoever wins that game and outshines, I think takes home the Heisman.
Let me ask you this, because we're talking about recency bias. We're talking about the Heisman. Fernando Mendoza in particular, he did not play